with the draw bead passive, scale a lot of range, and so you can really get out of the way of the feathers later on in the game. Berserker can then become a real threat in late game team fights, and you have early laning power. Spots out Owner immediately, and he's not going to be able to clear this one out just yet. Still committing to a potential dive though.
Yeah, Dudu of course needs to stack his Q. Doesn't have any stacks right now.
Oh man, this could be really problematic. Let's see how he does manage to do this, as Doran actually tanking the turret, has to flash to get out of the way, and Dudu has survived for now. But now it's going to be Ona starting this one off. Can he actually tank this effectively, as the answer is no.
Okay, well, it ended up working out. Flashless or no, the exhaust gets a ton of value, forces Doran to flash. They get the trade.
While Faker needs one on.
Going for it.
There's the shockwave, just throws it down where he can. Head up hold. In from life as Pioshik's coming on over. They get the flash out from Ona. Didn't have to use it on that top side of the map. In fact, probably could have perhaps saved his life, as there's a flash out from Pioshik as well. He's level 5. Another Pulverize comes in as Gumayusi in trouble once again. Explosive charges on in the rocket jump from Berserker, and Gumayusi in so much trouble. There's the battle dance as we've got the flash through from Pungyan, and Pioshik takes down Guma. Headbutt to push Carrier back as well. It is going completely ballistic here, and it's DNF that are getting all of the value. Looks like Pioshik gonna let his former teammates survive.
Advantages and snowball the game. They look for the ult onto Faker, push him down. They have that hiding Alistair there. They can challenge Owner. As we'll hold that thought until the replay here, as we are gonna have a bit of a contest from Owner. Yep. One grub did, of course, go over to Pioshik, but he does not stick around to try to smite a second, which I think is wise in this case. Didn't have his flash.
Yeah, able to just get himself over the wall pretty comfortably. I think he did actually have his flash available, but just didn't want to take unnecessary damage. As life is everywhere on this map right now. The needlework coming on in is now Doran. He throws down the equalizer, but it equals nothing, ladies and gentlemen. He's on the floor. A little bit and all that sort of stuff. It's great to see. But that was once again a little bit of an iffy situation. Pioshik going to be able to take down the Drake though, and it's all fine.
Yeah, they still end up getting the Dragon. That feels really good here for the DN Freecs. With T1 having Faker here, full control of the entry point of this grub. It's going to be really hard to fight this one out as DNF.
Oh, here we go. They did manage to get it. Let's see whether T1 just make out like bandits. Try and take just that one, but instead they're looking for a team fight. Faker with his ultimate back up again. And Gumayusi this time thankfully has Featherstorm. Ona comes in. Dudu on a flank angle. Life gonna have to use that ultimate. Does do so here. As Pioshik just taking his Raptors. It looks like these grubs aren't something they're interested in right now.
Berserker is getting some plate gold here in the bottom lane, so that this comp is very strong in mid-game T1s, especially with the control they have over set objective here on the blue buff.
All right, Life is just getting on in there as Pungyan gonna get flashed on by Faker. The shockwave does connect, and now they do manage to at least go 1-for-1. Or do they? Pioshik trying to get himself out of there, but that is somehow Carrier surviving. I have no idea how he lived there. The rest of DNF making their way in though, as Life once again starting this fight. Over the wall is Carrier, finds the knock up there onto Dudu, who now puts down the mist. He's trying to stay alive, but it's not quite working. The needlework! Oh my god, he manages to get one as Ona goes down and Faker is on the floor, and now the rest of T1 are on the wrong side of the fight. Untargetable as Pioshik's able to take down Carrier, and now Guma with no friends left has nowhere to go.
And they save the turret.
Doran's getting the turret. I don't know whether they're going to be able to save it, as he takes a lot of damage from the turret and Pungyan, as now he's going to try and cook him, and there he goes.
Oh, Pungyan, no flash in this exchange, can't get away. He thought he had the damage there to take Doran out. He loses the turret, his teleport, and his life.
The kerfuffle. DNF being able to win out there. Doran was able to equalize it, grab himself a turret. And first Star Blood actually went over to T1 as well. Of course, 5 Grub's going to be helping out with that one for an Orianna comp.
I'm not talking about the individual dragon that they're getting on third potentially to get that soul, but the soul itself is actually super powerful for Gwen that's going to get low and be in that big brawl and is going to be able to get some of that healing back.
You really want to be fighting around objectives, so it's about setting up for exactly that. And speaking of setup,
they will.
That's what they're doing here to Dudu, as over the wall goes Ona, and they look to just take down the turret immediately. The knockup does connect, and now Dudu's going to try and get in there. I don't know about that one, as Doran's already flashed away. Huge pulverize as the Gwen does go down, but the equalizer positioned pretty well. Buster shot gets Carrier out of there with his life, and the Featherstorm will eviscerate the Tristana. This is the kind of team fighting we wanted to see out of T1.
This is exactly what you were talking about in terms of this, as Doran gets 3,000 finally. Was waiting for a while while for this one.
You could imagine that Berserker would be pretty close as far as what his coffers are looking like. T1 going to utilize that reset advantage to be able to take down this Dragon. DNF not really up with the timing on their best performing players at the moment on exactly what they want to be playing. We're starting to see that DNF not really able to do much about it. His life is just going to get cooked, ladies and gentlemen. He could even just be dead right now. As Carrier goes in and Faker's able to pick that one up, but they also get Berserker as well. Just sweeps them up underneath the turret. Pyongyang gets in. It's another unfortunate teleport for this Orianna, as they just have to watch as their turret gets vaporized.
So I know Pyushik's not going to come over here and look for a smite, but he may look for a kill.
Yeah, he does throw his doggos forward.
But Doran is like, my flash for Otacon, you know, we know Pyushik's not nearby. You guys can press your D key on that one and take it out.
Yep, we take those. Probably what he's going to be saying as Carrier moves down towards his bottom side. I don't think he's going to be saving this turret as Dudu's able to lock that one down. Pyushik in position. Wait, he wasn't even lit on fire because there's a heal on this Rakan. That's just the burn.
Yep, it's just that.
That is insane.
But I mean, that was again with the lack of coordination here for DNF. They're going to go for one more Hail Mary. Okay, They decide not to because their jungler is nowhere near, and I think this is wise.
But I mean, you can't just give everything because then you just lose the game. Equalizer goes down and it's T1 that are engaging. The shockwave lands on absolutely nothing. And Dudu is now in trouble. The Gwen not feeling as powerful as she once was and will be taken out there by Ona.
They're not able to even play the Vision juggle game. They're not able to play the red buff juggle game without catastrophic results. And Faker can solo the Chemtech Dragon, which he will do here with no consequences. And I mean, T1 have the whole map. They have Baron, and once was a small gold deficit, like you said.
Bit of a zoning equalizer just to soften them up and convince them that this inner turret is not worth fighting for. And understandably, DNF will agree with them.
So I don't think they're that concerned about it.
No. And it hasn't really been hitting the right targets recently anyway, as inhibitor number 1 to go down, the second one short to follow. And DNF, I mean, they didn't look like they had much of an idea in the first few fights. I don't know whether much has changed now, as Pyushik deciding to dive forward does get the stopwatch out of Doran here.
More valuable in the long term, but I just don't know if there is any long term. And now T1 know that they're just like, okay, well, we can keep pushing, and there's no way Pyushik can get on top of somebody. Like, even Guma's like, let me auto this Orianna. I don't care. I have flash ult, and you don't have a Fury ult.
Yeah, and Faker and Carrier are just looking for their opportunity to scoop someone up. Carrier to get them in position, and then Faker just to finish it off as the equalizer goes down. Life goes in. There's a shockwave connecting onto 2, but I think it's too little, and it's almost definitely too late as Ona going forward, tanking up 2 turrets as Life does get the pulverize onto Guma, who will eventually go down. That was actually an absolutely sick play. They trade 1 for 1, get that prize for his team. Dudu also with Azonya's now completed. That is kind of cool. As Faker goes in, finds Pyongyang one more time, and I just don't think he has any way out. In fact, he does not, as Faker goes golden, and the red carpet is there. Life unable to walk down that one. That's a little too hot. Gets cooked anyway by Doran here, as now Ona goes in with a nice knock up onto Dudu. He has the miss down, but I still just don't think he's going to be immune. And there it goes. Pyushik on the fountain. The Sand Soldiers say you are dead, and T1 will dominate in the end of game number 1. The DN Freecs woes continue here in the LCK.
And a big statement win here from T1, bouncing back after that bro loss. They still need to win 1 more to take the series, but it's hard to punish this Gnar pick with Viego. You know, there are other junglers that can be very threatening and punish a mini Gnar. Viego doesn't always quite reach with the hop available, so I feel like you feel pretty safe in the top 2v2 as well.
Break his way over, and all right, that'll do it. He's just fine.
Nice timing on that.
Yep, I guess he just knew that he wasn't in any danger as the Ignite already down onto Gumayushi. He's gonna flash. This dive is dangerous, but still able to pick it up. Life just deciding that he's gonna have to sacrifice himself as Carrier gets another kill, and Berserker not going to be able to challenge him for that one. So that, I would say, ladies and gentlemen, is a disaster
And
in this matchup anyway, so it's just a bit of a rough one.
Not respecting, but Pyushik is going to come over here.
Yeah, there's the flash in, as I don't know about the angle on the stun. The gravity field's fantastic there as well, and Faker gonna have to flash because there is a shattering strike coming on over, and Pyushik gets his 2nd of the game.
All right, maybe it was good that Viego got the kill, you know?
Yeah, he's pretty scary now.
He may miss the flash stun, but
setting up for these plays quite nicely. Life, of course, his position fantastic there, but T1's still going to be able to get themselves the first dragon of the game. And next one going to be a Chemtech, so no back-to-back Chemtech souls.
This pit, Faker doesn't have his flash. I don't think he's going to come down. They're going to look for a bottom play here instead on the Dudu.
Yeah, the Narstun into the turret, and Dudu does manage to at least get the Counter-Strike back as he throws down the ulti. Doran will need to pick up turret aggro, but I think that was a level up for Dudu. Look at him, eating through these cookies, feeling a whole lot better, but still, he's going to get taken down. Nice little hop to get Doran out of there, and it was a good attempt.
Yeah, it was nicely played there from Dudu. Really nice flash timing.
Still, that is a lot of pressure onto the DN Freecs AD carry. Doran still realizing that things are a little bit difficult here in the 1v1 as there's the Magnus Storm. He tries to get himself out. Heartbreaker comes forward. There is the Grand Skyfall, and Dudu goes down once again. Doran is still alive, and Pyoshik's on the wrong side of the map. A disastrous dive attempt here as Gumayushi down towards the bottom side, and the Wallop will take down the Rel. And things are going wrong a little earlier this time around for the DN Freecs.
Yeah. And unlike the last time, they don't end up finding any success with their plays. Pungyan is now also 100% dead.
Yeah, the Realm Warp, an immediate Chaos Storm interruption as Pungyan realizes that he may as well try and clear the wave. And he does do that. He is surviving for quite some time. But that's another gravity field, actually, in the same little skirmish. Shot for fun. And Carrier, he's going to turn up. Solar Flare doesn't connect. The Rel is in the area, but Dudu is still going down incredibly low. Good Shattering Strike there just to get him out. But now Pungyan having to deal with some attention on the top side as the stun comes through, and Pyoshik not going to be here in time. Just elects to get himself stunned as they take down the Rise yet again.
And that's feats of strength with the turret going down bottom side here. As it looks like DNF will at least get this Dragon back, trade it for a 1-for-1. We'll see what the soul is. As it's not going to be Chemtech 2 games in a row, so at least that's a thumbs up for me, but...
Yep, it's going to be a mountain soul.
Okay.
But Faker's going to be taking down this outer turret. I mean, this is 6 grubs for DNF. And they're losing structures all over the map.
If you can't hit the turrets, they don't really end up getting much value, do they? It's maybe the last stand here, the last fight for DNF.
Yep, Life is just going to move in, already down to half health. As a teleport from the Jax to deliver him to the middle of this fight. It's going to be an honest 5v5 as Faker makes his way down. Boomerang value actually quite high there as the Flak Magnus Storm comes in from Life. They're going to see whether they can get the first kill in this fight. It's so important. The transformation is fantastic, but the first kill, it was T1's, and they line it up with a couple more as well. Now the curtains are being called. The Grand Starfall comes down, and Berserker, I don't think he's winning this battle against Owner, as Owner may actually get taken out here as Pungyan's over the wall, but instead he just flashes his way out of there. And T1, they only sacrifice Doran, and they take everything.
Yeah, Doran also played the fight out incredibly well. You mentioned the transformation and tanked so much in the early part of the fight. No resets for Pyoshik, no angle to pop off on this Viego, and that's a Herald getting in charge here in mid, and they're looking for even more.
Yeah, Life underneath this turret, they do manage to get the secondary charge from Shelly before she does go down, as Pungyan desperately trying to deal with the wave. He does manage to do that as Faker takes a couple of turret shots, but this gravity field plus Deadly Flourish combination that T1 are using just looks very difficult to deal with.
It's super frustrating. Maybe there is a potential angle here. Life, no flash though to engage. This is going to be so tricky, and they're very split.
They really are. They just need to find something, some form of fight, even if they don't manage to deny this. As the Shattering Strike comes down, Doran's their target, but they throw Pyoshik just towards the rest of the team. And Ona just left there to deal with this Otacon. Very happily does so because he's under no threat. As, was that a potential Realm Warp angle? It was not.
I don't think so. And there's no angle to get Flowers either. And then they take the Otacon and walk away. It was just, you know, it was not that interesting in terms of the actual fight breaking out and kills going over, but in terms of technical league play, it was about as technical as it gets by T1.
And nothing that Pyoshik could do, no angle to be found there, and in fact, he's able to stop these backs with that Crush Gnar combo. Now the Starfall comes in. Pyoshik
isolated.
Not going to be able to save this Rise, who had his flash removed earlier on. So that is just a very, very dead bald blue guy.
You see the, you know, preemptive angles there. You know, Doran stops the backs, so it looks like, oh, a bit of a whiff there from Doran. No, not true. He stops the backs, and then they have the Starfall follow-up. They isolate the Rise and take him out. As Duda will pick up some bounty gold here in the first turret of the game for them, but it's in trade for an inner. And T1, I don't think, are feeling too bad about it. With 6 grubs, though, Duda, if he gets enough time, and, okay.
Oh, Owner has found Life, but there is, Life's kind of into that, as Berserker just going to throw a bunch of autos into, okay, does he just win this? Oh god, Owner is so scary. There is 990 gold going over to Pioshik once again as the Deadly Flourish comes down. Carrier could be dead. The resets are starting to come in, but perhaps the curtains have now been called. Dudu going to soak one of them. Pioshik soaks another as he heartbreaks his way out. So that's all they're going to get.
Ult, so he might get interested.
Yeah. Flash is back up here for Pungyan as Doran taking a lot of damage. Zenith Blade doesn't quite connect there as Carrier's the one tanking, but Pungyan's still dead. Oh dear, the wallets be heavy.
They certainly do, and with a very easy to set up follow-up there with the Leona tanking the turret. It's just as simple as that. And now Doran does have TP if he had to join this Baron fight. I don't think he's that interested, though. I think he just wants to push this bottom wave in and start to then threaten there. As Life and Pioshik do show up, but it might be too late. Faker pulls off 4K on the Baron, and I just don't think there's any in here.
Nope, and Pioshik just backs away. They see the Chaos Storm, as we also see that we are indeed floating above Runeterra. There was no real way. As T1 look to siege this one out with their new Baron that they've put together. The Shattering Strike comes down once again. It's a very aggressive dive from Ona, who may actually get taken out here as Pioshik comes in. They do manage to get the kill on the Pantheon. The resets are starting to come in as Gumayusi could be in trouble. Pioshik is kind of scary, but it's Faker going absolute god mode here in the backline. Life going to be taken out. The Death Ray, my god, combined with the curtain call. T1 just say, yes, you do have a Viego, but unfortunately it's not enough.
He's dead now.
Through a team fight.
Yep, and T1 with this wave coming through should be able to slowly end this game. Berserker looking for the outplay.
Oh, does not get it. That's going to be another 300 over to Doran. Pungyan does manage to get that, but it is a very swift execution here by Gumayusi. And T1, 2-0 over the DN Freecs, and unfortunately, 3 games. The entire round robin, and unfortunately none of them were in the same series.
These were some of the best highlights from today's matchup. Which moment was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. This is OP, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.